Julio. You call?
Notice of a public meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Brownsville pursuant to Chapter 551, Title 5 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meetings Act. Notice is hereby given that the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Brownsville has scheduled a regular meeting on Thursday, March 7th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. in the Commission Chambers on the second floor of the Brownsville City Hall, Old Federal Building located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas 78520. Pledge of Allegiance.
Welcome, everyone. I'd like to start with roll call, please.
David Ramirez.
Troy Whittemore.
Eliza Vasquez,
Elisa Davila.
David Betancourt.
Ruben Obel.
and
Ida Rodriguez.
thank you. Start with updating comments.
So we do have 3 subdivisions for approval tonight, 6 zoning cases, and 3 code amendments. Now, we also like to point out, we understand the commission's seeking additional training. We just request that you send us a list of items you would like to discuss and go over the training.
Okay, we'll get that to you.
2, approval of the minutes for the regular meeting on February 1st, 2024.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a first and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Consent agenda items. Consideration and action, One Loop subdivision preliminary plat, Human Being subdivision final plat, Blue Bonnet Estates preliminary plat.
So staff have been, has found complete with pending comments and signatures to be addressed. And just for clarification, this is One Loop subdivision. It is an 11 lot commercial subdivision. We have the Human Being subdivision. It is a 2 commercial lot subdivision. And finally, Blue Bonnet, an 11 lot single family home subdivision.
Go back to the One Loop. Where is that at?
This is near the corner of Morrison and Pablo Quise. Now, we have presented this one on a previous meeting. However, it is required because they are changing the name and making a small change in configuration that we presented again to the commission.
Okay, so Morrison and Pablo Castel, is that on the north side of Morrison?
It is on the northwest.
Northwest, okay. Okay, I know where you're at now. All right, thank you. Any questions?
Are these single-family home lots?
No, it will be a commercial lot. Actually, we have a hotel in the review process as well as a drive-through coffee shop. The only single-family home subdivision being presented tonight will be Blue Bonnet.
I make a motion to approve consent agenda items 1, 2, and 3.
Second that motion.
We have a first and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Public hearings, public hearing and action on ordinance number 235-2024-002 to rezone from agriculture to light industrial to allow light manufacturing and an office warehouse on a 10.13 acre tract out of the south portion of Block 81 El Jardín subdivision, Share 32, Espiritu Santo Grant, Cameron County, Texas, located at 3858 South Brown Avenue, Brownsville, Texas, 78521.
So as mentioned, this is a request to rezone from agriculture to light industrial for a light manufacturing and office warehouse. It is fronting South Brownie Avenue. This is the 200 buffer map. 8 mailouts were sent out, however, 0 written opposition was received. The predominant land use within the area is undeveloped land. However, we do have some single family to the north, east, and south. Here's the aerial view of the property. And so the request is not consistent with the comprehensive plan and future land use plan. Therefore, staff recommends denial to rezone from agricultural to light industrial.
So what was the plan as far, what kind of warehouse are they trying to, is it just storage warehouse or they're going to manufacture?
So actually, and thank you for bringing that up, staff would like to point out that they are currently operating as a manufacturing and metalworks facility without a certificate of occupancy.
Can you pull the map up again? Eric, that one.
So you see where Southmost Road is? It's way down there.
Do we have anybody here for this item? Do we have anyone here for this item? Speak, this item.
Good evening. My name is Eladio Cuellar, represent Basin Industries. Basically, what we're trying to do with this property, this company does a lot of work for SpaceX. And right now, we trying to accommodate all these construction items that come for SpaceX. And that's what we're trying to build, this warehouse with an office at the front. But we're trying to do the design that it will go with a kind of type of a residential at the office. You want to pass this? So we can accommodate the surrounding area.
Do you already own that property, Mr. Cuellar?
Yes, they're Bass Industries owns the
You're
property.
the owner, not the.
No, I represent the Bass Industries.
Okay. And how large of a warehouse are we talking about?
It's going to be approximately 2,500 square feet right now as we speak.
Not too big?
Not too big, plus the offices. The office is going to be between 2,000 to 2,500 square feet office.
Is that the sketch there?
That is something that we want to propose.
And this is for manufacturing or holding
This is just to store material.
store material? Okay.
Yeah, nothing is going to be industrial at all. Nothing is going to be built there. All this material gets dropped off there, and they take it to SpaceX to get whatever they need to do with the material over there.
Doesn't look like your traditional warehouse, right?
You're right.
Blend in.
But there's currently nothing on the site. It's vacant.
I'm sorry?
But the site is currently vacant.
No, it's being used.
It is.
Yes.
Any further questions?
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second that.
We have a first and a second motion to close public hearing. All those in favor?
I
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
make a motion to approve.
Second?
We have a first and a second to approve. All those in favor?
I
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
2, public hearing and action on ordinance number 235-2024-003 to rezone from residential single family to residential suburban to allow a duplex for Lot 12, Block 2, Laguna Bonita Subdivision, Section 2, Cameron County, Texas, located at 100 Draper Drive, Brownsville, Texas, 78521.
So this is a request to rezone from residential single family to residential suburban. The proposed use, it is a duplex, fronting Draper Drive, sorry. Here's the 200-feet buffer map, 22 mailouts with 0 written opposition. The predominant land use within the area is single-family dwelling. And so here is the aerial view of the property. And the request is consistent with the comprehensive plan and future land use plan. Therefore, staff recommends approval to rezone from residential single-family to residential suburban. Now, staff would like to point out, going over the area with the applicant, we did confirm there are quite a few duplexes in the area. Therefore, we are supporting.
Can you go back 2 photos, please? Go back 2 photos, please.
Sure.
That's not an encroachment, is it?
No, it seems that the parcel layer is just shifted to the south, but in reality, it is in alignment with the vacant lot.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this item? You'll state your name, please.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Basilio Gomez. Ms. Chairman, members of the board, I'm Basilio Gomez. I'm here on behalf of the owner. We just like your consideration. It's going to be like a duplex, so it's going to conform with the city's ordinance and requirements and all that. Thank you.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Gomez? Thank you. Anyone else want to speak on this item?
I am sorry, I had hard of hearing, but was there opposition?
No opposition.
No opposition.
So move to close public hearing.
I second that.
We have a first and a second to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a first.
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Item number 2 carries.
3, public hearing and action on ordinance number 235-2024-004-S to request a specific use permit in a commercial corridor zoning designation to allow an event center for lots 2 through 4, block 1, Brownsville Tierra Verde subdivision, Cameron County, Texas, located at 185 Billy Mitchell Boulevard, Brownsville, Texas, 78521.
So this is a request to establish an event center through a specific use permit. The current zoning is a commercial corridor, and so the property is fronting Billy Mitchell Boulevard. And so as with previous similar uses, sound mitigation regulations will apply if approved tonight by City Commission, I'm sorry. Here's the 200-feet buffer map with 10 mailouts and 0 written opposition. The predominant land use within the area is multifamily development directly abutting the southeast. And we have some single family to the south and to the west. Here's the aerial view of the area. And so the request is consistent with the comprehensive plan and future land use plan. However, staff remains neutral and will follow the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission on the specific use permit to allow an event hall in commercial corridor.
That's the public hearing. If there's anyone who would wish to speak on this item, can come forward. Mr. Garrido, is the entire building going to be used as an event hall or just part of it?
All of it.
That building has been vacant for some time.
So move to close public hearing.
Second.
We have a first and a second to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? What is the wish of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a first, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
4, public hearing and action on ordinance number 235-2024-005-PD. To rezone from agriculture to residential suburban to allow a duplex development with a planned development district prohibiting access through Abelardo Drive for a 32.43 acre tract consisting of 32.41 acres out of Block 9, J.C. Bennett subdivision, and 0.02 acres being Olive Reserve Number 1, Abelardo Estate subdivision, Cameron County, Texas, located in Abrego Road, Brownsville, Texas, 78520.
So you may recall this property. However, this time they are proposing a residential suburban to establish a duplex neighborhood with a planned development district to prohibit access through Abelardo Drive. It is currently a zoning agricultural district. And so to give you a little background, the previous case was presented at Planning and Zoning Commission back in September 7, 2023, for a single-family residential development. The proposed access at that time was to be through Abelardo Drive. And however, there was some opposition. Therefore, it got denied on September 7 and later appealed on September 14. It got presented again for the first hearing at City Commission on October the 3rd. However, it got denied due to the same opposition. And the opposition was related to the access being through Abelardo Drive. Therefore, this time, they are proposing to deny or prohibit the access through said street and allow for additional accesses through the north right-of-way. So here's a 200-feet buffer map, 10 mailouts with 0 written opposition. The predominant land use in the area is single-family dwelling with some undeveloped land on the east and the west. Here's the aerial view. And so the request is consistent with the comprehensive plan and future land use plan. Therefore, staff recommends approval to rezone from agricultural to residential suburban with a planned development district to prohibit access through Abelardo Drive.
Mr. Garrido, can you go back to the previous slide? So where are they going to get access from?
So it will be through the north.
Is that what street that is?
Right. We haven't actually reviewed the new configuration of the duplex subdivision. However, we understand it will be mainly through there will be going on phases, and I believe the developer's actually here, but they're gonna start with the phase abutting directly the north right away.
So am I understanding this correctly? Before they wanted to do single family and now they're doing duplex?
Correct.
And the access is not going to be through that subdivision, correct?
Correct. They're prohibiting access through Abelardo Drive.
So how are they going to prohibit access?
This time, we're doing it through a planned development. A planned development allows for modified regulations through the UDC. Therefore, it allows us to prohibit it through this ordinance if it gets approved.
Will there be some sort of physical barrier there? Because I can see people just
Well,
driving through there.
Eventually there will be lots there. No street will be designed there.
Okay. This is a public hearing. If there is anyone in the public that would like to comment on this item, you can come forward. You'll just give us your name.
Gonzalez. My family owns Cajun Farms subdivision.
Mhm.
And, I'm sorry, I just got nervous. We actually have a little bit of a concern on Abrego Road.
You're fine. Take your
I
time.
just got really nervous. The entrance on Abrego is a bridge. And the way that the proposed building would be, so sorry, I just got so nervous. it would only have one, it bought the, I'm so sorry.
So the bridge is closer to 803, right?
Right, correct. The only entrance would be off of 511 and Baker Lane or through Abrigo and 803. Chances are people would only use Cajun Farms because the roads are wider. So that would be a problem for us. Now, as far as logistically, Abrigo Road is a two-lane, non-shoulder. One side is a drainage ditch and kind of unsafe for a lot of through traffic. So again, like I said, it would go through Cajun Farms, also through Baker Lane, which again, two-lane, hardly lit farm road. So this is logistically kind of a nightmare because this particular property bottlenecks and only allows for that road to be its entrance and exit. Eventually, yes, I do know that Old Port Isabel will meet up there, but not now. And so as of for right now, the weight would be shouldered by Cajun Farms and the residents there. As it is with the influx of population that's happened, the accidents in Cajun Farms, which aren't many, but have happened, are actually non-residents. 98% are non-residents through traffic, and that'll only go up. So that's my concern, and thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate your being here. Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Good afternoon, Madam Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Jose Martinez. I am one of the residents in Abelardo Estates, and I'm here with the rest of the neighbors here. This is our second time here. We came with the City Commission and prior to that as well. And I want to thank the proposal, which is basically to not use Abelardo in the future. And that's what we want in writing, that we don't have to keep coming back in case the developer or whoever keeps changing by a single word or a single, owner, and then we have to come again. Like you mentioned, a physical barrier. What type of physical barrier are they going to be placing in place? That's what we want basically to appease us. And, we came with the same concern as the lady, but ours is different because our street is 45 years old or plus, and they haven't upgraded it. So that we will deal with the City Commission and the engineering department later. As far as for this, I want to thank you on behalf of us that you do put in place and in writing that no more future access through Abelardo will take place. Thank you very much.
Mr. Martinez, can you clarify your name?
Jose Luis Martinez.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Is the developer here?
My name is Pedro Aldaco. I am the developer, Mr. Chairman, and I wanted to just say to the commission that I have spoken personally to some of the residents, and I know they're concerned about Abelardo Road. So we went to the planning and zoning office and talked to Mr. Martin Vega and told him that one of the solutions, and also asked for his opinion, was to do a paved access to Abrigo Road. He thought that was very feasible. I did talk to people in Doro Garcia, the engineering department in the city, and they saw that as a feasible thing to do. And once we thought that could be possible, then we talked to Mr. Martin Vega in the Planning and Zoning Commission saying that we wanted to put in writing something that would let the residents in Abelardo Road, it wasn't just going to be a promise, but it'd be something, a document that could be, put in writing so that road will never be used, because that's not a very feasible access because of the Abelardo Road and all the residents there. And what we did is we plan on putting not just a physical barrier, because you could do it, we don't have to, we can put a residential lot so the street will not continue anymore.
Okay.
So that'll be the end of the street. There's no more planning. But not only that, there is a document called the TDA. What is it called, the TD? There's a specific document where you as a developer, agree to not use that access that road. And it gets recorded too.
Well, and this is actually what we're proposing right now. It's a plan development. That's what we're presenting tonight. So
What I understood is it's not only a promise, but it's something that gets recorded. So it's good to state that that will not be the access. The Abrego Road is a natural access to the many future developments in that area, which is a natural growing area. And just like it gives access to Cajun Farms, and there's I don't know how many houses there, this will give access to this new development. And the reason that is called a duplex lot is because residential two, when you have a lot, you can use it for a single family or for a duplex. You have the flexibility. It's not our intent to build any duplexes, but since it was, last September was presented as R1, it got denied. We cannot present it within the next 12 months.
Right.
So the next best thing was to go R2, but our lots are intended to be a single family.
Okay.
And they're going to be the same size, but we don't plan on building any duplexes. So we just had to go with the next available change of zoning, which is R2, and it works for us. So they're probably going to be single-family lots that are going to be maybe 65 by 120, a typical residential lot.
Okay.
And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. So, Mr. Garrido, we could, I mean, this will be recorded, and that easement needs to be perpetual. Hi, come
I'm so sorry. May I?
No, yes,
say
yes,
something?
ma'am. What is your name?
My name is Amparo Vasquez.
Vasquez.
Yes. I'm so sorry if my voice gets shaky. I get a little nervous.
That's fine. You'll just speak in the mic so we can hear you.
Okay. I just wanted to say that I am a little bit concerned because I am the first house on the street. On the side of my house, there is the ditch, and they cleared out a good chunk of it all the way, and it connects to Abrego Road. What worries me is that my son is autistic, nonverbal. He doesn't understand danger very well. And I've had incidences where there's been cars that want to save 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and they go behind the ditch, they go to Abrego, they go behind the ditch, and they exit my house to get to the tollway, the main street. What worries me is that one, Abrego Road is not capable to, get so much traffic. And even though there is a barrier, even though there's always somebody that wants to cut a few minutes out of their time. And what worries me is that there's children around in that neighborhood. And if an outsider, somebody visiting, comes in and has a terrible accident, we, the residents, are the ones that pay for it. So that's very concerning to me. And I just wanted to let you guys know what's at stake. So thank you so very much.
Can you clarify where your house is?
It's
So you're on the very north side.
yes. So as soon as you enter,
From 803?
no, from
From
511.
511.
Yes, as soon as you enter, I'm the first house to the right, like where the ditch starts.
Oh, okay.
From
okay.
511 and
So
803?
she's on the south. So you're at the entrance of your subdivision.
Yes,
Okay.
the very entrance.
Okay.
So, and it goes all the way to the side of my house, all the way to the very back to all the neighbors, and it connects to Abrego Road.
Are you saying they're coming in from so your house is the first house on the right-hand side, correct?
Yes.
So you're saying they're going around your house and along the side?
So, the ditch is right on the side of my house, and it goes all the way around, and it goes through all the neighbors, and it connects to Abrego Road.
Right.
So that's what concerns me the most, because I've had traffic, I've had to call the irrigation district, I've had to make police reports, and that's just a few. So I just could imagine when they actually populate it, how much more traffic might go through there. And I believe it's just a hazard waiting to happen.
I could see the
Most
danger
of
there.
these- Most of these irrigation districts do have gates.
No, this one does
That
not.
one doesn't.
I had to call and have one put in place in the entrance, and they still went around it. And they went through my front lawn, and they exited through my driveway. Yeah, so that's when I had to call the police. Those were outsiders, and That's what worries me. So,
The irrigation district should be protecting that easement.
Right.
Securing it.
Thank you
thank you
for
so much.
speaking. We appreciate you. Yes,
Jose
sir.
Martinez again. What she's referring to is that we have an easement in the back, there's a canal. And they recently put some new apartments,
Right.
so they can have access to the other side of the canal, which is not deep and it's always doesn't have any water, so people can still cross. What she's saying is, her house, they did cut away there, but it does go all the way back. So and eventually there's no gates, like you said, all they put was a little chain on her property, but on the other end, there's nothing. So people will continue, that's why we wanted a physical barrier that'll stop all that and more. Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Gonzalez.
Gonzalez again. When the contractor just spoke, he did mention that they would be using Cajun Farms as their main, thoroughfare. That's kind of unfair because again, Abrigo Road cannot sustain heavy traffic. If you look at the entranceway on 803, it is a bridge and it's tiny. The potholes are enormous. Then we go on to, again, Baker Lane. It's a 2-lane farm road. There's not even lights. It's just not, again, the natural progression is going to be people going directly through Cajun Farms, and that's unfair. Eventually, yes, Abrigo Road will get bigger, but it's just not there yet now, and it's unfair for Cajun Farms to shoulder the burden of this development. It's not planned well. Cajun Farms has 3 entrances and exits right now, planned for 5. That's how you plan a development, not just a bottleneck in and out. That's not thought out. In the future, perhaps, but right now, unfair that Cajun Farms would have to shoulder that burden. All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you. Do you want to clarify that, Mr. Developer? Yes, ma'am.
I just want to clarify, we're not going through Cajun Farms, which is a subdivision. We're going through an access road, which is a public street, what do you call it? A right of way. Actually, this street, Abrigo, it's the one that they used to enter Cajun Farms subdivision. So it'll be the same access road to our proposed subdivision. Just wanted to clarify, we're not going through the subdivision to get to it. We're not going through any streets where there are any houses.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Lina Romero, and I happen to be the first person on entry of Abelardo Drive across the street from the Morin family. I was not aware that she was having that issue, but I will share with you that it is imperative that we research the area, be really specific on how it affects other people, because it's human nature to take the least, get through quickly. I used to have that problem on the back of my property. They used to drive all the way from 511, drive back, and they would go the whole street of Abelardo all the way to the back. They finally put some heavy wooden barriers in there. Now they can't do that. But I would like to suggest that the board really consider the whole picture as a whole, because even though it doesn't look like much, and we're not against progress. We're not against having homes built, because we know there's a need for them. But we do need to look at the future. What are you going to do to us? Are you going to make it a undesirable situation, or are you going to make it something that's going to make, one, the people that reside there feel comfortable, and 2, safe? And the traffic situation in the north, as we all know, is getting worse by the day. And the 511 traffic, if they don't do something about it, 70 miles an hour trying to get into a street is just crazy, especially that's developing there. So I would just like to say, that you really consider the future of that area and the safety of the people, because it does need to be better developed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Romero. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Con mucho respeto, quiero saludar al jurado o a los comensales de aquí que están aquí presentes. Yo vivo en la comunidad de Abelardo Estates, ¿verdad? Y me da mucho gusto también verme reencontrado con todas las personas de la comunidad donde yo vivo. Bueno, estoy aquí para defender la tranquilidad que necesitamos. ¿Eh? Una pregunta que yo tengo para el señor, ¿verdad? Que hizo esa petición para la audiencia pública es, en la anterior vez que no pasó esta clasificación de agricultura a residencial, se cerró con un año de espera. Ahora lo que yo quiero saber, ¿cómo pudieron lograr hacer esta nueva audiencia? ¿Es la misma persona o cambió de nombre la persona que ahora está haciendo esta petición?
¿Me puede dar su nombre, por favor?
Mi nombre es Olga Longoria, para servirle, perdón.
Gracias.
Ajá.
Solo para aclarar eso, al comienzo del caso se mencionó la penalización era para la misma petición de un residential single family. En este caso están proponiendo un distrito nuevo.
Sí, es lo que miro yo.
Por lo tanto, no hay penalización para eso. Ellos pueden proponer algún otro distrito, excepto el que se les prohibió la primera vez. Pero son los mismos desarrolladores, más para aclarar.
Son los mismos. Ok, eso era mi punto, ¿verdad? Porque estuvieron una persona visitando a varias personas aquí de la comunidad, ¿verdad? Que querían hablar con ellos para llegar a un acuerdo, o sea, de buena manera, ¿verdad? Pero a unas personas, esta persona no conectaba con la otra persona que visitó, ¿verdad? Según los comentarios. Yo no estoy aquí para decirle, ¿verdad?, lo que yo escuché. Pero según tenía entendido, ¿verdad?, que era una nueva persona que hizo esta petición. Eso yo quiero que me lo aclaren, por favor. ¿Lo entendí o no? Si no, explícamelo.
Sí, de hecho, nomás para aclarar, es un nuevo desarrollador aquí.
Sí.
Correcto.
Okay. Bueno, ahora yo quiero saber si esta nueva persona que tiene las escrituras de esa propiedad, con qué restricciones hizo esta compra de esta propiedad. Porque todos nosotros, ¿verdad? A lo menos yo en lo personal hablo porque yo, cuando compré mi propiedad, ¿verdad?, tenía sus restricciones, ¿verdad? ¿Y qué restricciones? Si es el que él quiere comentar, o sea, que va a ser el que va a vender estas, que son duplex, parece ya, antes eran residencias single para familias, ahora está cambiando. Quiero que por favor me lo especifique o me lo aclaren, si es que no lo entiendo, para poderlo entender. Y si él llega a lograr, ¿verdad?, la reclasificación, cuando él venda estos duplex, va a poner esta restricción a los que van a vivir ahí, que no pueden tener acceso a entrar. No sé si me entendieron, pero
Sí.
lo hice lo más claro posible.
Ok, sí, gracias.
Esas son mis preguntas. Ahora, si estoy aquí, porque yo soy una de las fundadoras, de las primeras que llegó ahí, ¿me entiende? Antes eran muy conservadores y mantuvimos esa tranquilidad. Ahora nos hemos protegido porque las nuevas generaciones que han llegado son personas, ¿verdad?, que trabajan con el gobierno como Border Patrol, Castan, sheriffes, policías, directores de escuela, doctores, y gracias hemos sobrevivido así como estamos en las condiciones, ¿verdad? Porque no nos sentimos marginados, nos sentimos que realmente tenemos bien puestos los pies en la tierra y hemos sobrevivido sin beneficios de la ciudad. Y yo quiero agradecerles a todas estas personas que han estado al pendiente o en problemas difíciles, porque ha habido problemas difíciles, Una vez entró una troca y tumbó todos los buzones. Había cartas de niños de Medicare debajo de las pipas, cheques ¿cómo se llama? Del que están recibiendo ahorita, de sus taxas, regadas por donde quiera, ¿me entiende? Y ese es un delito federal, tumbar buzones, ¿verdad? Porque imagínese el cartero, los buzones ya no miraban para la casa, ya miraban para el vecino. Entonces, eso es lo que, eso es que estamos al pendiente, nos estamos protegiendo unos a los otros, pero ya a nuestra edad necesitamos la seguridad de la ley, ¿verdad? Que nos cuide.
Sí.
Bueno, y esa pregunta, creo que la pregunta que acabo de hacer, ¿verdad? De tocante. Si este señor que va a hacer esos duplex, ¿verdad? Que ya no son casas single, o sea, para familias, que nos lo aclare. Y que todo lo que se procese ahorita y lo que él dice que va a hacer, que se sujete a la ley y que quede sentado aquí, porque nosotros no queremos ya venir, a lo mejor ya ni venimos, porque nosotros ahorita lo que estamos haciendo es dejando, miren, no es lo que nosotros le vamos a dar a los hijos, dejarles la tranquilidad que es más valiosa que lo que les vamos a dar. ¿Ok? Me da muchas gracias y espero que me hayan escuchado bien, y si tuve algo que no pude descifrar bien para que lo entendieran, me disculpen, y me da mucho gusto, ¿verdad?, que me hayan escuchado. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, señora. Can you clarify, Mr. Garrido?
And so just to clarify Mrs. Longoria's concerns, we would like to point out or reiterate two things. One is that access through Abelardo Drive is being prohibited through this petition. And also the penalty runs with the property and not the property owner.
You want to repeat that in Spanish?
So,
we understand?
Nomás para aclarar las preocupaciones que tenía señora Longoria, nos gustaría señalar dos puntos. El primero es que a través de esta petición se está prohibiendo el acceso a través de Abelardo Drive. La segunda es que la penalización pasada corre con la propiedad, no con el dueño de la propiedad. Entonces, a lo largo de un año, cualquier persona que adquiera esa propiedad va a tener esa penalización, sujeto solamente al distrito del single family y no del que están pidiendo ahora, que es un residential suburban.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak? Yes, sir.
Well, good afternoon to everyone. This is the first time I'm in this type of environment, so I don't know all the ethics about this, right? But
Do you
my
want to give us
concern
your
is,
name?
I'm sorry?
Your name, please?
Oh, my name is Jose Luis Quintero. I got 4 children. I live right in the middle of Belardo Road, and it's been very peaceful all this time. I've been there more than 10 years now. And my question is, how does this impact us as far as taxes or any other, benefits we have right now as an agriculture zone? Is it going to be changed to residential? I mean, our area or only the area for the project?
Well, that's a question for Cameron Appraisal District, not for us. We don't have any authority over that. But I imagine that your personal taxes on your home are not agriculture. They're residential. Everybody in that neighborhood is probably residential.
All right. And as far as anything else, the privacy, I mean, that's going to stay, it's pretty clear. There won't be no access in there. My concern is it's that area there, when they made the apartments on the 511, it just created a lot more traffic for us. And the privacy as well. There's more cars coming in and out, so we don't want to add more to that already.
Right. Understandable.
And I don't know if this is a place or not, but if we can have a ramp on the exit of that road, that would be very nice. The same they did with PUB and all those other public places, right?
That would be with Texas Department of Transportation. They have authority over that highway.
Okay.
But thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Would anybody else like to speak?
me faltó una pregunta que hacer, discúlpenme. Cuando ellos principien esta nueva subdivisión, ¿por dónde van a entrar? Porque cuando hicieron los apartamentos enfrente, ahí Abelardo, los apartamentos ahí en el 511, usaron nuestra área. Cuando era condado, ahí se le puso cuál era el peso que podían transportar. Y pasaban los camioncitos bien pesados de tierra. Y yo hablé con este señor Rosenbaum, que a lo mejor ustedes lo conocen. Él fue el que rellenó toda la área de estos nuevos apartamentos que acaban de inaugurar. Y esa tierra, él la excavó, la sacó de ahí, del borde de protección del drenaje de desagüe. Y yo hablé con él. Le dije, no puede pasar tantos camiones porque nuestra calle está muy débil. ¿Y saben qué me contestó? Por teléfono. En persona, por teléfono, me dijo que nosotros no éramos dueños de la calle. Yo no quise hablar más allá, porque lo que él estaba haciendo, lo estaba cobrando. No lo estaba acarreando gratis. Y la tierra la estaba sacando, no sé si escuché a esta señora, por donde salía. Y él cruzaba el Deren, que ahí hay debe haber, que la ciudad debe de señalarla. Hay una barra de contención ahí entre la rueda, donde debería haberse puesto, o que los vecinos estaban de acuerdo en hacerlo, de poner una barra donde poner un size no traspase, ¿verdad? Pero ellos no la respetaron, y pasamos eso hace poco, ¿me entiende? Hace un año que empezaron y ya los terminaron. Pero ahora la pregunta que yo hago a los nuevos, a los que van a construir aquí, ¿por dónde van a entrar para empezar? ¿Por dónde van a entrar? Quiero saber por dónde van a entrar. Porque por Abelardo estáis desde este momento, para que se apruebe, no pueden entrar. ¿Ok? ¿Por dónde van a buscar la entrada y por dónde van a buscar la salida? Y si la ciudad les va a responder pronto, en que muy pronto les va a hacer ese camino. Porque nosotros estamos también en lista de obras públicas haciendo la petición para nuestros beneficios. O les van a solucionar la ciudad muy rápido, la calle, para empezar a construir. Por eso a mí los vecinos me decían, es que quieren reclasificar. Le digo, pero están hablando de calle ustedes, que los apoyen, que nosotros que ustedes nos vamos a aceptar, que lo que ellos nos proponen. Le dije, ¿pero qué van a sembrar? Tomates y chiles. ¿Pero por qué dice eso? Porque es agricultura. ¿Para qué quieren la calle ahorita? Porque hablan de la calle. Para mí que el interés lo tienen más en cambiar la clasificación. Y que nos digan por dónde van a entrar, cuándo van a empezar. Ok, muchas gracias. Discúlpeme, pero se me olvidó eso.
Está bien, gracias. Do we have an answer for that question? Yes, sir.
Sí, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Eduardo Longoria. Hace alrededor de 5 años compramos la propiedad en Abelardo, mi familia y yo. Vivimos muy tranquilos, muy a gusto en la comunidad. Es un lugar muy, muy tranquilo. Realmente nos cuidamos todos los que vivimos ahí. Van mis hijos a visitarme, mis nietos. Si el fin de semana quiero andar con ellos afuera en la bicicleta de los niños, yo sé que está muy tranquilo. Entramos los que vivimos ahí y todos nos cuidamos. O sea, por eso estamos a gusto. Y realmente estamos cuidando esa tranquilidad. No estamos en contra de ese proyecto, solamente estamos cuidando la calle la que usamos nosotros. Una calle un poquito maltratada, pero pues está bien. Si va a haber una finca con no sé, 100 apartamentos o más, pues realmente si viven parejas van a ser 200 gentes, alrededor de 200 carros que van a entrar y salir por ahí. Entonces esa tranquilidad va a bajar. Con todo respeto les digo, si alguno de ustedes viviera ahí, yo pienso que estarían sentados aquí apoyando esta causa, cuidando sus hijos, sus nietos, porque hay gente muy prudente, pero hay gente que puede ver imprudente, que va a manejar o va a actuar en la noche, de día. Entonces estamos cuidando solamente eso. Les pedimos que tengan ustedes un poquito de cordura. Yo sé que son personas muy correctas y van a mirar realmente que estamos cuidando solamente nuestra familia. No estamos en contra de lo que ellos están haciendo. Está bien, cada quien tiene planes para la economía. Solamente cuidamos esa tranquilidad de la calle. Si van a hacer una inversión de tanto dinero, pues pueden usar una calle, ya sea la Abergo o está la Olalis, la pueden arreglar. O sea, hay otras formas. Esta calle está pequeña porque la comunidad es pequeña y es muy tranquila. Entonces, nomás tener un poquito, pues, cordura para decir, realmente estamos todos aquí y somos una cantidad pequeña, pero todos nos cuidamos. Si hay algo, nos comunicamos entre todos. Entonces, solamente les pido que por favor, que tengan un poquito de cordura y saber realmente lo que está bien, ¿verdad? Si ellos tienen un negocio grande, qué bueno que lo hagan. Nomás que usen otra calle. Es todo lo que les pedimos. Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Mr. Garrido, can you explain to the public in Spanish that the land development prohibits the thoroughfare through Abelardo?
Yes. Y solo para reiterar, a través de esta petición se va a prohibir el acceso a través de Abelardo Drive. Entonces, en el momento que se apruebe esta petición por el City Commission, desde ese momento el acceso va a estar prohibido. Todos los accesos van a tener que ser a través de Abrego Road.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Emily Barra. That was my dad who just spoke. So I understand the proposal is to not use it for the developers, correct? But the question I think that most of the community has is that the common person who is going to live in this area is still going to use the road to access it quicker because that will be their home. So the question is, would there be was that somebody's like back home, or is there going to be direct access to there through Abelardo? That's the question.
Ma'am, can you just state your name clear?
Demily Ibarra with an I.
Emily?
Yeah, like Demi Moore.
And so just to clarify that, if this petition gets approved, a non-access easement will have to be established through the lot. Therefore, no access or driveway from a private property or another road will be allowed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are we? Yes, ma'am.
I understand the Abelardo Estates, but Abrego Road is a 2-lane road. One side has a 20-foot ditch. It's not feasible. Baker Lane, again, 2-lane. 803, 2-lane. How, again, if there's, like it was mentioned earlier, apartments, 200 people, where is that going to happen? How is that going to work on those roads? Those roads are not built for that. Will they be? Yes. But today, they're not there. And again, is it fair for the people that already live there? Is it fair for the roads themselves that are going to have to be fixed over and over and over again? And also the residents of Cajun Farms and the developers, us, that have that expense of making sure that those roads stay beautiful. A lot of people that live out in Olmito, Los Fresnos area, and a lot of the people, their clientele will be truck drivers who will bring their trucks and they'll go down Abrego Road and through Cajun Farms and through Baker Lane. And Baker Lane, that property belongs to us as well. So we're the ones that are being truly affected by this. My family's Cajun Farms, again, Baker Lane, all of that, we're the ones that are being affected because this subdivision has one area. That's it. And that's not a very well thought out plan. And again, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez.
Good afternoon. My name is Carlos Arismendi, and I'm a resident of Velardo Drive. I heard comments on how good this entrance might be and how good this entrance might be. Well, I can tell you that Velardo Drive is not the best road. We have no lights. The road is very narrow. When you got two cars coming down the road, one from each side, one of them practically has to stop for the other one to go through. So if we were gonna get more traffic through there, that road, I don't think can handle it in reality. Abrego Road is much wider. Yes, there is a ditch. If you're driving, well, obviously you gotta look where you're going. Don't go into the ditch. And if anybody was gonna spend any money on upgrading any of these roads to get to the subdivision, if you really look at it, Abrigo Road would be the one to upgrade, whether it be the developer or the county or the city. We talk about, that is not the road, this is the subdivision that, supposed to be there because we're gonna go into Abrigo. Well, what happens when you build a subdivision on the north side or further to the east on Abrigo Road? Nobody's gonna use Abrigo Road? At one point or another, that road's gotta get widened up by somebody, whether it's the developer, the city, the county, I don't know who it is, but Abrigo Road at this time cannot stand any more traffic.
Sir, can I have your name?
Sorry? I thought I'd mention Carlos Arismendi.
Thank you for your comments.
Madam
You are-
Chair, I think there still might be some confusion of the language on the item, what it means and what it says. So I don't know how we can better clear for the people that are here to make them understand what this item does and it doesn't do. If I'm not mistaken, this item will prohibit access through Abelardo Road. Is that correct?
Correct.
Completely? Zero?
Correct. We can even, if the commission wishes, a condition can be added to install a physical barrier if that's needed. However, as long as this petition is approved, no access may be allowed through Abelardo Drive. Now, there seems to be concern also along Abrego Road. The property must have access from a fronting right away, so we cannot prohibit along Abrego Road.
I think the concern for Abrigo is a valid one. However, the way government works is the roads tend to get improved when the greater population is. Right now, it's all farmland out there, so there's no need to improve that road. But as more people start building homes out there and more people start living there, then the city will step in and redo that road. It used to be a county road. All that area used to be county. Everything in this area used to be farmland, monte. As people started moving here and started growing the city, it starts to get everything with Caliche roads, then it goes to Blacktop, and it starts to grow. And right now, you guys used to be in the outskirts. Now you're part of the city, and it's gonna grow all around you. People are gonna come in and build homes, and you're gonna be like Alton Glore in the future. That's gonna happen. You can't stop progress. And the responsibility of this commission is to follow the comprehensive plan, the future plan of the city of Brownsville, and also take in consideration the highest and best use for these properties. And farmland doesn't bring in, the only way government can get money is through taxing. And farmland doesn't bring any money for the city. Build homes, it improves the value of the properties. Property owners have to pay taxes, and cities can collect that money and get fire, police, and roads and things that people need to grow. And that's what's all happening here. And we're seeing it in real time. Hope that explains a little bit.
Thank you for that, yes.
And to add to that, we would like to point out that Abrego Road, it is a collector, so the developer will have to dedicate land to widen up the road through the subdivision process.
Can you explain what the physical barrier you're talking about? What does that mean?
Wooden fence.
The commission would recommend one.
With the lady who had the concern about her child, is there any way, question to staff, Madam Chair, I'm just wondering if there's any way for the commission itself, for the city to send a letter recommending
To the irrigation
to
district.
build a barrier,
We could write a letter to the irrigation district.
both sides?
We have no authority over the irrigation district, but we can write a letter and hopefully they'll listen.
Does anybody know which district that is? District 2?
2.
It's District 6.
I believe Ernesto Gomez is the chair of that.
I think you're right.
So you all may want to go call him.
Do we want to?
Thank you for your comment as far as the physical barrier. But is there any way we can stipulate, instead of the city, that the developer put the physical barrier like a brick fence or something where it's blocks, kind of like when they do on the highways, big old things so that people won't?
So to add to that, a perimeter masonry wall is required for every multi-lot subdivision. So if there is a lot there, a masonry wall will have to be built there. And I'm sorry, that will be fronting a right-of-way. In the case of Abelardo Drive, just for that portion of Abelardo will be required.
Okay.
No, correct. You can only, the dedication will be subject only to the developer's
continuation
property.
For Abregon, I mean, yeah.
Abregon.
Abregon Road is. Right. Anyone else want to speak on this subject?
Okay, I guess I just wanted to make sure on the taxes, because you mentioned, right, the city is expanding, will taxes increase? So is there going to be an impact on taxes for us? Because we're going to have more properties around us, newer homes, and if so, is there going to be any benefits if there's no way around it? Because we don't have lights, we don't have sidewalks, it floods in there, the dishes are not even maintained. We got to do our own things there. So if we're going to be paying more taxes, is there going to be any benefits for the residents there?
That's with the Cameron Appraisal District, and when you get your annual letter, you can protest that.
Okay, but that's with the Cameron.
Cameron Appraisal District in San Benito.
Yeah, just to make sure you understand, that's governed by the state, not by Cameron County.
I need a motion to close public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
I have a first and a second motion to close public hearing. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries
I'll make a motion to approve.
with,
Staff recommends.
we have,
That's staff recommendation.
Yeah,
Okay, I think
the amendments and all that are included in that staff recommendation.
Right. The petition is for a plan development, for a rezoning with a plan development district.
to prohibit the access to Abelardo Drive. And do we need to add something about a physical barrier?
As the commission wishes, with the prohibition of the access through Abelardo Drive, they won't be able to extend any road or even access a property from there.
Can we amend the item to include
You can make a recommendation to the city commission.
to the city commission?
That needs to be in our,
So,
When you present it to the city, you can let them know that.
correct.
Did you understand that, sir?
I did.
okay, we have a first and we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
So just for the record,
Yes, sir.
could you repeat your,
The motion was to approve plan development as staff recommends with the prohibiting of the Abelardo Drive, and to make the recommendation to the city commission that there is a physical barrier of some sort.
thank you.
Even during construction? We'll do that again. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for what you do.
Next item.
Item 5, public hearing and action on ordinance number 235-2024-006-S to request a specific use permit in a traditional neighborhood zoning designation to allow a child daycare in Lot C, blocks 103 to 104, Los Ebanos Property Subdivision S, Cameron County, Texas, located at 2358 Los Ebanos Boulevard, Brownsville, Texas, 78521.
So again, this is a request to grant a specific use permit for a child daycare. The current zoning is a traditional neighborhood, and the property is fronting East Los Ebanos Boulevard. So under the UDC, when in a TN district, a child daycare must apply for a specific use permit. Here's the 200-feet buffer map, 24 mailouts with 0 written opposition. The predominant land use within the area is single-family dwelling, all throughout, with some multifamily to the west. There is a multifamily development or a duplex development as well being developed on the inner property of the block. So here's the aerial. This is the site plan. It is an existing single-family home being converted into a child daycare. The request is not consistent with the comprehensive plan and future land use plan. Therefore, staff recommends denial of the specific use permit to allow a child daycare in the traditional neighborhood district.
Can you go back to the previous?
We have the aerial map,
Where are they planning to have a drop-off area?
So they were actually proposing it within the right-of-way. However,
Right away?
right, however, staff requested approval from city engineer, and till this date, approval has not been received.
This line road.
you go back to the other map, there you go.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone that would like to speak on this item,
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
we have a first and a second motion to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to deny based on staff's recommendation.
I second that motion.
We have a first and a second to deny. All those, I'm sorry? Was it Mr. Obel? Oh, Mr. Vandercourt. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 6, public hearing and action on ordinance number 235-2024-007-S to request a specific use permit in commercial corridor zoning designation to allow an event center for 2,600 square feet out of Block 51, Los Ebanos Property Subdivision, Share 22, Espiritu Santo Grant, Cameron County, Texas, located at 1905 East Los Ebanos Boulevard, Brownsville, Texas, 78521.
So we have another request to establish an event center. This time it is within a commercial corridor district, and it will be through a specific use permit. The property is directly fronting East Los Ebanos Boulevard. Again, it will have to follow any sound mitigation regulations imposed by the UDC. Here's the 200-feet buffer map. There were six mailouts with 0 written opposition. The predominant land use within the area is commercial with some multifamily to the southwest. And it is within close proximity of the expressway as well. Here's the aerial view. So the request is consistent with the comprehensive plan and future land use plan. However, staff remains neutral and will follow the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission on the specific use permit to allow an event hall in a commercial corridor district.
Can we see the close-up aerial of that? My question is, what is the requirement for parking? Because there's not very much parking if they're gonna do an event center there.
So staff has received notifications that they will make or work with the neighboring property, the hardware store, to provide an agreement for parking, for additional parking.
The adjacent store across the street?
Across the street, I'm sorry, to the west.
So that business is open till 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. So the event center is only gonna have events in the evening?
The commission may recommend hours if it wishes. Hours of operation, I'm sorry.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone who would wish to speak on this subject, on this item?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Edgar Vela, and I own the apartment complex that's within the buffer zone to the northwest corner there of the property. It's SNF Apartments. I'm against opening this event center just for the fact that there's going to be noise in the evenings, at night. There's going to be music, loud music. A lot of parking is an issue there to begin with. There's going to be a lot of activity. SNF Apartments has many elderly residents there. I work with the city of Brownsville Housing Department, and they need obviously peace and quiet. And so I am not against business at all. I am pro-business. I just think that this event center would be better suited in another location. Not only will it affect the residents there, I walked around, I asked them, they're like, no, we don't, I mean, we need peace. And so SNF Apartments is a peaceful, family-oriented living community. And so there's gonna be a lot of loud music, a lot of, traffic and parking issues and stuff like that, especially on the weekends and at nights and the evenings. And so, again, I mean, I think it would be better suited somewhere else than there.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Bella.
Excuse me, so your apartment is behind the Essential Bolt Industry?
Right.
Right on the north side.
Right.
Thank you.
Right, and the like I said, the northwest corner building, which has 4 residents there, is within the buffer zone. And so, I mean, even with sound mitigation and all that, there's still, you can still hear it. And also, they're gonna be parking on the street, they're gonna be parking everywhere. And then when they get there and when they leave, there's gonna be a lot of chaos there. And the residents there, again, it's a peaceful community. They're, a lot of them are elderly. They need peace and quiet. And so, again, I'm pro-business, but I'm also concerned that people will start leaving because it's too loud and this and that. And then, other people, I gotta, look for other people to rent there. And then they're gonna find out that there's a, loud music and stuff. And then there's just gonna be a cycle. And I'm concerned about that. But appreciate your time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Bella. Yes,
Good
ma'am.
evening. My name is Gina Escobedo. I'm actually owner of that property. And I clearly understand the concern of my neighbor when it comes to the possibility of him losing business because of loud sounds. Well, first of all, I myself have rules for my tenants. So that would not be something that I would allow when it comes to extreme. Why? Because next door, there's a spa being prepared to be opened. So it's in process. So there is no way, and that spa is literally back to back to the suite that this lady and young man are trying to rent. Next to them is a suite for Escobedo Insurance. And they themselves also make phone calls daily to customers, and they need to have also their suite be soundproof for their business. it would, actually having loud noise would affect not only him, which is a lot farther than my suites next door, but it would actually affect my other renters. So as you can see, as a businesswoman, I cannot afford that. So one of the things that is always accommodated when it comes to sound, because with what I've spoken with the prospect renter, is that they want to do like a kids play, you know, like a party for children, or at the most, if somebody's getting married, it's a small place. It's not a huge place. They themselves, again, are willing to follow rules, and if they need to have a certain type of special material in there to soundproof, stuff like that, I am sure that they're willing to work with anything. They're here to make business, and they're not here to kick out other renters either, because to me, as a business owner, that is definitely not something I want to do. So I don't want to lose my other renters, especially the spa, as you can understand, that's going to be back to back. Now, this property is made up of block, so it's thick. And in itself, there are also walls, insulated walls that follow regulations. So I got to speak with my closest neighbors. My closest neighbors are a physical therapy, a wig shop, a restaurant. You know, they're far enough so that even if I would have music outside, it would have to be so loud. It would have to be like a loud accordion group, mariachis with bocinas, and you know, for it to be loud. My main concern was my neighbor next door, and I did go speak to them. That is part of my responsibility. We maintain very good relationship for the same reason. We protect our properties, especially because of the parking. That would be another thing that was brought up right now. Currently, there are 19 spaces in the front. That small space you say holds 19 vehicles right now to park, of which one of those is already designated as handicap and has an extra space on the side of the handicap equivalent to another parking space that is empty. It's on the side that is not used, as marked with lines and stuff like that for the handicap. So accommodating more parking space, the way that we've been measuring, and she informed me of what has been talked about because of the occupancy that's going to be kind of calculated inside that suite. Once they do the restrooms and the storage and all that, it's not going to be that big to where, or bigger than the space being rented, to where more space is needed than the current one already. And if we need to put another disability, well, we'll just add a second disability parking space. So currently, the building already holds the spaces that are needed for her business. When it comes to additional, and that would be in the case of a massive event or where her event saturates all the parking spaces, and then the next two door neighbors would need it, in a rare situation, because her business mostly is gonna be in the afternoons when my other two businesses are closed. So Suite A and Suite C would close by 5:30, which is normally what they close. And normally her major business would basically start at that time. So we don't really see a lot of conflict on that. I did speak with my next door neighbor, the owners there. I spoke to the owner and the husband of Central Bolts, of which they have a huge space of, I don't know, 30 spots for sure. And they are also very open and willing to work in the case that there's a big event and there's parking needed. That is something that's already talked about, and of course with communication and arranged. That's only if it's needed. We don't really foresee that. And that's the only reason why I myself allowed for her to actually come and request a permit for this, because I know that there's a lot of variables here that would not go against her having a decent night party hall that is not gonna be loud enough to reach the apartments that are at the farthest end. I leave that at your discretion, though.
Do you have some sort of written agreement with Central Bolts?
Oh, yeah, yes, and I can provide that. That would not be a problem. We have been great neighbors. Since I purchased that property, they ended up going in there less than a year before that too. They purchased that area and established their business too. So,
My concern is the parking. That doesn't seem like a lot of parking for 3 tenants. And
It's-
I would not like to see people parked up and down McIntosh.
right, what is the,
Tent.
what is the minimum amount of parking spaces required for this event center?
So the UDC requires, 1 space for every 500 feet. 500 feet,
500 square feet?
square feet, yes.
Wow.
And the place is 2,600? So you're looking that she would need max 5 spaces? We have 19. And a disability. That's the reason why I allowed her to submit a permit, to request. Any questions for me? Thank you.
Thank you.
Say something.
Yes, sir.
Again, she says that, you know, her other tenants leave at 5, but that's when my tenants get home from work, you know, and the events are gonna happen in the evening. I mean, everybody else is going home and they're not gonna, and that's when, obviously, the tenants in SNF apartments are coming home from work, just like they're leaving to go home, you know? And so the events that are gonna happen when most of my tenants are home. And it's gonna obviously affect them. Again, I'm not against that. And the other thing I don't understand is how you can require just one parking for 500 square feet of space. You can easily fit, 10, 15 people in 500 square feet of space. And all those 10 people are gonna arrive in one car. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. I think you probably need a lot more parking. I'm sure you can fit easily 30, 40, 50 people in a 2,600 square foot building, easily. And that's gonna require a minimum, I don't know, two people per car, easily 20, 30, parking spaces. So again, I don't think there's enough parking there to begin with. And the other thing is even if they were to put whatever, the sound, the booming, all that is gonna affect my tenants, most definitely. And I'm concerned about that. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be against your business. I'm pro-business, but I'm just looking out for my tenants.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I purchased this property in 2012, and in that same year, I purchased in May. In July, I had a tenant that lasted there almost 11 years. It was Pure Fitness Center. He took the whole building in the back, which is part of what she wants to rent, plus another suite that's already currently there with an insurance company. They were there for a little bit more than 10 years, and they had loud music since 6 in the morning when all their attorneys and doctors would go in there. They would take a break anywhere between 1 and 3, and after 3:30, they would keep on going until like 8 p.m. Did you ever have an issue with the loud music from Pure Fitness reaching your, did you ever have a report made whenever there was a loud music during those 11 years? I want to make a point. I'm a very responsible owner. And one of the things is respecting my neighbors. It
Ma'am,
is a
you're addressing
priority.
the commission,
So
not Mr. Ella.
that's not something I'm going to allow because I am going to have a spa next door. It's impossible. A spa cannot run without music, and a spa is next door. Just, that is my responsibility on that area. Okay?
Thank you, Ms. Escobedo. Anyone else wish to speak on this topic? Yes, ma'am.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Herminia Castro. Yo soy la que solicitó esta petición. Entiendo al vecino, ¿verdad?, que está preocupado por sus renteros. También soy una mujer de negocios, una mujer que empezó desde muy pequeña con sus padres Una disculpa. Estoy en la mejor disposición de trabajar con mis vecinos para estar todos en armonía trabajando. Mi plan es tener un evento de fiestas familiar. ¿Qué va a llevar? No planeo tener eventos después de las 12 de la noche. ¿Por qué? Porque son de niños, baby showers, despedida de soltera, bautizos, que regularmente son horarios familiares. Como decía la dueña de la propiedad, hablamos con los demás vecinos que están a favor de este proyecto, ¿verdad? También se habló con los señores Rodríguez, que son los del Centro Pol Industrial, que están cruzando la calle, en referente al estacionamiento. Yo no pretendo que mis clientes, ¿verdad?, ya que van a venir con familia y niños, estén en las calles. Es por eso que optamos por comunicarnos con nuestros vecinos en cuestión de que si llega a haber la posibilidad de necesitarse más estacionamientos, como así lo mencionan, ellos nos otorgan el permiso de utilizar su estacionamiento, ya que sus horarios también cierran a los horarios que nosotros vamos a tener nuestros eventos. En cuestión del ruido, las paredes son de cemento, entonces no veo la manera de que salga un sonido. Vuelvo a remarcar que no va a haber música de bodas hasta las 12, 1 de la mañana, en lo que vaya a estar molestando, ¿verdad?, a las familias que viven en estos departamentos. También contamos con planear poner unos paneles que son los que van a rebotar en dado caso que exista un sonido mayor, para que rebote el sonido dentro de nuestro edificio y no moleste a nuestros vecinos, ya que de un lado va a haber un spa. Mi mayor prioridad es que todos estemos en armonía y un spa necesita de tranquilidad y armonía. Del otro lado, también mi vecina está a favor de estos eventos, y los cuales a ellos les va a favorecer porque todos los fines de semana tendríamos eventos donde ellos también se favorecen para crecer su negocio. Y respecto a los horarios, como vuelvo a repetir, no van a ser después de las 12 de la noche. Voy a tener seguridad, ¿verdad?, que se va a permitir o se va a solicitar a nuestros clientes para que haya un mejor control en nuestro estacionamiento y en la vía pública. Gracias.
Gracias.
And again, just to add to that concern, the commission may recommend the requirement for a parking agreement to the city commission if.
Yes, because I would hate to see people up and down Macintosh Park there. Anyone else want to speak?
Don't move to close public hearing.
Second that.
We have a first and a second to close public hearing. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. What is the wish
I'd
of the
like to make a
commissioners?
motion to approve with the staff recommendation of the sound mitigation.
And do we want to add a written parking agreement with the neighbor?
And the parking lot agreement.
With a written parking agreement with the neighbor.
We have a first.
I'll second that.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Nay. Motion carries.
Item 7, public hearing and action on ordinance number 2024-235.105 to amend the Unified Development Code, UDC Section 4.4.3.d, commercial uses, auto-related sales and service, and dealing with the related matters.
And so this is a request to, a text amendment to the Unified Development Code, and specifically for the car wash use type. So given the latest drought conditions, the city decided to identify uses with high water consumption. specifically car washes. And the proposal is to limit these car washes within a 5-mile spacing requirement. And in addition to that, it will require the installation of a water recycling system. It will apply to all new vehicle wash related uses. So we are currently at a stage 2 as per PUB latest data. However, as per recent communication with them, it is highly likely that we will enter stage 3 within the upcoming days. Additional data provided from PUB says that there are a total of 31 active car washes in Brownsville. From those, only 6 use a water recycling system. So this is our current or the existing UDC requirement, which does not mention anything but land spacing requirement or water recycling system.
So what you're saying is, I just want to make sure, okay, I see it, it's clear there.
Correct.
Within a 5-mile radius, there can't be another car wash.
Correct.
So we don't have one on every corner.
And every single car wash use will have to be, or will have to employ a water recycling system as well. And we are adding a new, given the latest demand, a new type use. It's being identified in the UDC as truck wash.
Now, are the existing gonna have to abide by these rules as far as the recycling of the water? Or they're
We're going to be grandfathered in?
They're,
And what about the ones that are in, that includes the ones that are under construction now?
What about if they change ownership?
What about a what?
What if it's closed for more than 6 months?
Right, and also any alteration to the existing development or any other permit will most likely trigger the requirement.
If we don't get substantial rain by the summer, PUB saying we're going to go in stage 3, and the city of Brownsville has never been in a stage 3 drought. So this is serious.
And so for that, staff recommends approval of ordinance number 2024-235.105 to amend UDC section 4.4.3.d dash commercial uses, subsection auto-related sales and service.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone that would wish to speak on this topic, come forward.
Madam Chair, I have a question for staff. How did this item get on the agenda?
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question?
How did this item get on the agenda?
Because it is related to the use within the Unified Development Code. So we are adding restrictions to the permitted use chart. Oh, I'm sorry, I should add that from recent communication with PUB and city management is that it got to us.
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
We have a first and a second motion to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Make a motion to approve.
I second that motion.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
Item 8, public hearing and action on ordinance number 2024-235.106 to amend the Unified Development Code, UDC section 4.6.3, landscaping, subsection B, applicability and dealing with related matters.
So this is another text amendment within the Unified Development Code, also related to the promotion of water conservation and address the current drought conditions. This time, the measurement, it's being addressed towards the landscaping. So it will limit high volumes of water consumption, promoting the use of drought-tolerant plant species, and requiring the use of xeriscape during severe drought conditions, limiting the use of landscape irrigation systems as well. Applicability will be applied to every single use, every single district. As long as we are within the stage 3 of drought. So just a few examples of how will temporarily the requirement will be changed to a xeriscape type landscaping. And so again, we are currently in stage 2. However, we could potentially enter into stage 3. And just for your information, here are a few examples of the water consumption on some particular uses. The first two being the golf course the city owns, the third being the car washes in question.
Now you have surcharges on that previous chart. Go back one. So with stage 3, we're gonna have surcharges. Is that PUB?
Right, so this is data brought by PUB.
Madam Chair, I don't know how familiar you are with this issue, but this is, we're reaching a critical point. And this has, you saw the levels of the Falcon, both dams on there. And this all relates to the 1944 treaty between Mexico and the United States. It's a mess.
Yep.
And Mexico won't deliver its water unless there's an exceptional drought, and there's no definition to an exceptional drought, and that's what the State Department's working on, and we got TCQ's working on that issue too, but we're gonna get to a point that I think we're gonna reach stage 3, and at some point, if we're not careful, very soon this year, people are gonna start worrying about water when they open their faucet and nothing comes out. And so I asked where it came from because it's very important. I know the city's trying to do a lot to conserve, but I don't know how much it does to enforce. These are preliminary steps, but it's time to hit the panic button, is what I'm saying.
Is my understanding that Mexico still has a year to deliver the water according to the treaty?
They operate in 5-year cycles, and they're delinquent every single time.
Very serious. This is a public hearing. If there's anyone here that would like to speak on this topic. One,
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
we have a first and a second to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. What is the wish?
Make a motion
Commissioners?
to approve.
We have a first and a second motion to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Item 9, public hearing and action on ordinance number 2020.
Yellow highlighted.
Can we, just a moment.
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
Can you go back to the yellow highlighted piece?
Yes. So just to add, this will be the subsection added within the last landscape section, which is basically telling us that during stage 3, all landscape requirements may be suspended and instead xeriscape may be applied.
Thank you.
Item 9, public hearing and action on ordinance number 2024-235.107 to amend the Unified Development Code, UDC Section 4.3.3, Traditional Neighborhood and Form Districts by repealing or replacing subsections D, E, and F, outlining established parking setbacks within traditional neighborhood districts and dealing with related matters.
So as you may know, the traditional type districts came with the adoption of the Unified Development Code, and with these parking setbacks were established as means to protect the character of historic neighborhoods throughout the city. This code amendment uh, proposes to reduce the established primary street parking setback requirements. And it will apply to all traditional type districts, being traditional neighborhood corridor, traditional neighborhood mixed use, and traditional neighborhood. Now, you may see them throughout the presentation as color coded. That's just to identify the different setbacks through the districts. So moving forward, we will walk you through the current setbacks, specifically from a primary street within a development. First, we have the traditional neighborhood corridor, which requires a 40-foot primary street setback. We have a 5 feet from a secondary street. There is currently zero setback requirement along interior sides. And finally, we have a 15-foot setback from the center line of the alley, requiring a minimum of 5 feet from the property line. Now, with the reduction of the change, parking placement will be allowed now at the 5-foot setback line, following the same as the primary building setback. And we have the traditional mixed use. Again, we have a 40-foot primary street setback. We have a 10-foot secondary street setback, a 0 lot line setback within the interior side, and finally a 5-foot setback from the property line abutting the alley. And again, with the change, a 10-foot setback will be allowed. And finally, we have the traditional neighborhood, which requires a 50-foot primary street setback, a 10-foot secondary street setback, a 3-foot interior side setback, and a 5-foot rear setback. With the change, it will be reduced to a 10-foot primary street setback. So to give you a little context of what brought us here tonight, we received I'll go over a little on a project located in 1 Ebony Drive. This is within a traditional neighborhood district. It is a single-family home, and it is fronting Ebony Drive and Palm Boulevard. In this case, if we reference the traditional neighborhood, we will be looking at Palm Boulevard as a primary street and Ebony Drive as a secondary street. So the property owner came to us requesting a driveway along or connecting both roads. Now, staff would like to point out that driveways are not considered parking spaces. They're just access to the property. So in reality, this does not come into conflict with the setback requirements. However, upon being in close proximity to an intersection, staff did requested approval from city engineer, and the access or the proposal was not approved, being in close proximity to an intersection, coming into conflict with the access management standards. So as an alternative, property owner proposed a commercial type parking lot. However, this will be, given that there are parking spaces there, it will come into conflict with the required 50-foot minimum setback. And so this is what brought us here, that as developer friendly, we are inviting you to make a recommendation, whether to approve or deny for this reduction of setbacks. Now, going back to the reason why the parking placement setbacks were established, we gotta remember that these are to protect the historic character of neighborhoods. Now, working with the property owner, we did coordinate with them and potentially they could do this type of driveway, which is not considered a parking lot, and it's more, it fits more within the character of the neighborhood. However, they're still want to go with a commercial type parking lot. So, and to clarify, if this change gets approved, it will apply to every single property within a traditional neighborhood mixed use, and a traditional neighborhood corridor district. Therefore, staff recommends denial of ordinance number 2024-235.107 to amend UDC section 4.3.3 traditional neighborhood informed district subsection DEF, traditional neighborhood corridor, traditional neighborhood mixed use, and traditional neighborhood.
Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Garrido. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this item? Come forward.
Good evening. I'm Rebecca Ardenas McNair. I'm a resident of the Los Ebanos neighborhood. I am a neighbor. I live about a block away, and I am definitely not in favor of having any kind of commercial parking on Palm Boulevard, or I would bet on any of the other traditional neighborhoods. I think there has to be a solution that is conducive to the neighborhood. The first solution that doesn't meet traffic requirements, but does meet a driveway. Almost all the homes in the Los Ebanos neighborhood on Palm Boulevard have a semicircular driveway. So this house in particular has a corner lot, makes it more difficult, and I think their driveway will have to be further, the entrances to the driveway will have to be further away from the corner. But I feel like that is a better solution than changing the ordinance for the neighborhood and for all other traditional neighborhoods in Brownsville. In the Los Ebanos neighborhood, we are very proud of our neighborhood. We really do feel like Palm Boulevard in the Los Ebanos neighborhood is the prettiest boulevard in Brownsville. University Boulevard's pretty too, but I like Palm Boulevard better, and I feel like it's a real asset to Brownsville. It shows off the beauty of Brownsville, the traditional neighborhood. Our goal is to eventually get a historic designation from the state for the neighborhood, and that what is important is to maintain the facades of the neighborhood as much as possible, and these neighbors have spent a lot of time and money fixing up their house, and it looks very nice, and I know that they want to have a nice driveway, but I am heartily opposed to changing this ordinance and making it possible for people to have commercial style parking in their traditional neighborhoods. Not in Los Ebanos and not in any other traditional neighborhood either. I see we're trying to solve a problem, and instead I think we'll be creating a lot of problems.
Thank you, Ms. McNair.
Hi, my name is David Willis, and I live at 1905 Palm. So I live across Ebony from the house that's making this application. I was notified about this possible ordinance change, and I was surprised to learn the contents of the ordinance. In particular, I came to realize that now there's only a 5-foot setback from the street I learned that when they decided they're going to put an apartment complex right next to my house. A little sad about that. But this part here, I think, I'm sorry to know your name, Mr. Margarito, said that lot was applying for or zoned under the traditional neighborhood as opposed to the traditional neighborhood corridor plat. Either one of these two documents, I don't think fit those houses on Palm Boulevard. And so I just had a real question. How is this applying? Because if it's supposed to be the traditional neighborhood, the TN, well, then all of the parking is behind the houses, which you can't have on those houses in Palm. And I don't see how that is going to happen with this amendment. I do need parking. I have one space. I have a garage that's through the alley. I can't fit my truck in there. And I would like to have parking there. I would like to have some room to fit myself and my family and friends when they come over. So there's a real need for it. And I'd like to have some clarity, number one, about how this applies. I can see how this can apply on 6th and 7th. I can see how this applies on Elizabeth, where it calls these feeder roads. But in that one section of Palm, I don't see how this really applies clearly. And so I'm in favor of giving people who live there parking spaces. I need it in the future. But I want to make sure that this is clear enough that I can guide myself, and that's what I'm looking for. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Willis.
Now, staff would like to point out that the reason it is applying, it's because most of Palm Boulevard, it's zoned as a traditional neighborhood district. Now, the setbacks shown on the graphics are for new developments. We understand most of Los Ebanos neighborhood was they're way before all of our time. So particularly 1 Ebony Drive is within a traditional neighborhood district, which would require a 50-foot primary street setback, or as
Sorry, not to my knowledge.
Correct. You're in subsection F.
you are a TN. However, we gotta point out that a typical house layout, having a garage, whether it's on the front or on the back, will be unrelated to the setback. This is particularly for parking spaces, exposed parking spaces. Now, the regulation also mentions that you have an alternative, whether to place your parking beyond the 50-foot front yard, or as an alternative, you can place it beyond the projected line of the building facade. Therefore, typically garages don't apply to this. But to answer your question, yes, most of Los Ebanos neighborhood have their access through the neighborhood. And there is another reason why the parking placement throughout the traditional neighborhood type districts were required to be on behind the main building to access from the alley.
I'm sure that the P and Z personnel would be happy to sit with you at a later time and go over one-on-one to answer all your questions.
Most of.
Hi, ma'am.
Yes.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
May I
What is
speak
your name?
next? Lynette Villarreal. I'm the owner at 1 Ebony Avenue here in Brownsville. So the property on the screen is actually my property, and the change in the ordinance was a solution that was shared with myself and with my husband After multiple attempts to put in something in our front yard for months, we've gone through 5 different plans. At this point, I understand, with all due respect, Ms. Reba, not wanting to change the ordinance or not have the street look ugly or the neighborhood look ugly, but at this point, and I did also submit, for public comment I submitted some, renderings and a plan as well. Not sure if you all were able to see that. The way that it's laid out right now, as far as like a circular driveway, no, it does not meet the guidelines for traffic. It would have to come out, I don't know how many feet back from a stop sign on one end and come out all the way on the other side of our ebony tree, essentially making it like its own street. Which is, as Mr. Willis can tell you, Palm Boulevard is already unsafe as it is. People speed through here night and day. The last thing I want to do is add an additional street to my front yard. Even with that, I would have to move all of my PUB to even provide some sort of parking. I was told that I could put a, parking in behind my fence, but I can't move my fence. I can't change my fence. There are lots of restrictions that come with being in this overlay. I do believe that what we have in mind is actually much more beautiful than a circular driveway, which would provide grass and landscaping all through the front of the house with parking for vehicles off to one side, which is done tastefully in pavers and brick and stone with landscaping. I agree that maybe perhaps we shouldn't change every single thing for the entire city. But the point is, I don't know how else to do this with the restrictions that I have in place. If anyone's seen our house or driven by here, you know that we've been working on it for many years, and we just want a place that is a place that's nice, right? We want Palm Boulevard to be nice. And as it is right now, you can go through anyone's yard here on Palm Boulevard, and the majority of them have parking right off the street. This is something that is just tucked into the corner of our house so that the front yard could actually be beautiful. I believe that there's a lot of folks on Palm Boulevard that could benefit from this. And for that reason, I am in favor because it does benefit me personally. Did you all by any chance get to see copies of what I shared today with the city secretary? Okay. Would it be possible, I actually don't know if this would be possible. Could I share my screen?
I don't believe that will be allowed.
Okay, thank you. Could you show? Yes. And so I think that the disconnect here is honestly the fact that it looks like parking spaces. My question then is, what is another alternative? Because we've been through 5 different plans. And I truly believe that even that other one with the circle is ugly. Like, this is the prettiest of the 5 we've submitted. So how do we do this without changing the ordinance is my question to the staff and to the board.
I would like to see the rendering that she's referring to. And then the other thing is without changing everybody's, can we do a specific?
No, one thing to point out, the reason why the text amendment is being proposed is because this is a requirement that's established citywide as per the zoning designations that correspond to different properties, specifically or primarily within the historic district. So just providing the exemption to one person would not be neither beneficial nor fair to the remainder of the city. So the text amendments, they occur because we have to be fair and balanced when it comes to requirements. We can I said, we cannot just focus on one property owner and give that particular person or property the exemption to do what they want because of whatever reason it may be.
Right.
According to the rendering that's being passed around now, and that kind of looks similar to what other houses on Palm Boulevard have already done. How'd they do it? I mean, like Graham's house, Graham Severe's house doesn't even have a front yard.
Again, we got to point out that these setback regulations were established in 2021. So anything before that is considered legally non-conforming. Now, this does not apply to driveway access, only applies to the actual parking area.
Would you like to speak?
Yeah, I'm Juan Velez, the Historic Preservation Officer. Good afternoon to your commissioners. So I suppose that you're proud of Brownsville. You have been raised here. I was only born and since 2015 living here. So I'm going to explain something that you already perfectly know through your experience and your residency here. And so the urban design in the historic districts of Brownsville consisted in mainly architectural styles, one after the other that have enriched the city. And the importance of that kind of development was that mainly the facades. It was focusing in the facades. The different styles have different facades, but mainly the distribution of the organization of the house is very similar from one era to the other. So the Historic Preservation Office and primarily the Historic Preservation Commission, what we want is to protect this kind of unique fabric that we have in Brownsville, and is the only existing fabric in the valley, not only for future generations, but as a matter of a sense of pride. So I suppose that you are proud to be born in Brownsville. I have been all my life being proud, even when I was living in Spain without knowing what the heck was Brownsville, and that was one of my reasons to return back to my hometown. So the proposed change in ordinance, independently of my coworkers, what they are saying, means that the future developments will change the urban strategy from architectural, values of these kind of new designs, and so into what is called the suburban architectural style. That is all what we have surrounding Brownsville. Monotonous, repetitive kind of, architect in which really the car is prioritized. So by allowing this kind of ordinance to pass through, what we are going to have is that uniqueness is going to be lost, because naturally the residents are going to pull and try to get everything on behalf of this kind of design. And then the architectural style and richness of Brownsville will be lost forever. I'm into Carlo-like designs. I'm always saying, hey, I was raised in Spain. My memories are from Madrid. If I lose this battle or any other battle, okay, it's kind of a failure from a professional point of view, but it's not my memory. My memory is back in Madrid. It's in the, Prados Museum and Reina Sofia Museum, Real Madrid Best in Medal. But the one that you are going to lose are your children, your grandchildren, yourselves. So returning back to the point of Ms. Villarreal, I remember that the first time that we met was just by coincidence. I was taking photographs of a nearby house, and she stopped me, and we were discussing these kind of things. We even talked about the tree that she has there. It's a very impressive tree. We were speaking about always the half moon, as Ms. Magnier said. Why? Because that's the style in which Ebony, Los Ebanos, has resolved the parking. Why? Okay, this comes from 1928. That subdivision was developed as a suburban garden area, meaning that the priority was given not only to the architectural styles, but to have a green buffer in front of it, and you can see it by simply visiting. And mainly, if you have a parking lot, would be attached and detached from the singular house through a very little driveway, and that was all. Now times naturally evolved. So what it happened is that the only way to try to keep that vision in the need of let's say parking, or at least resolve part of the demand, was by creating that kind of half moon and still preserving a green area in front. And you can see it repetitively in the Farias house, no? In the Bajis house also, that is a recorded Texas historical landmark, and in many other houses that are located in Brownsville. And that's the way to achieve this kind of goal. Unfortunately, what happened is that traffic decided that it's impossible to have that half moon at the corner, and otherwise to extend it was first of all impossible, and secondly, then we'll have all the front yard with this kind of half moon, and the other solution was to try to push that half moon to the back, nearby the tree and behind it. It's not that you produce 1 or 100 designs of a car parking that naturally do not match the regulation. It's a matter of how you can resolve without, in this case, altering the ordinance and keeping that kind of loop. My coworker, Eduardo Garrigo, has worked on a kind of, double, as you can see, a double kind of loop there, in which at least it would be preserving a kind of garden area in front of it. Otherwise, you still have space on the back, as you can see here in the drawing, and space in the back of that fence that is located there. And that's a way to tackle this item. There's nothing else. If the property insists in this kind of commercial parking that is more or less a kind of car lot-like design, well, that's not the appropriate thing to do into this historic district. Tomorrow I will have the Historic Preservation Commission, and I will repeat exactly the same. And I suppose that the Historic Preservation Commission will understand what I'm saying. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Velez. Any questions for Mr. Velez?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just to clarify, this proposal was also brought by the property owner.
Do we have anyone else who would like to speak? Yes, sir.
Right quick, I know it's been a long evening, but my name is Mark Roberts. I live at 205 Hibiscus Court there in the Los Alamos subdivision, and I really appreciate what they have done to try to accommodate in developing that property and fixing it back up, because it looks very nice and it's going to be very nice too. But yet at the same time, I am concerned about this ordinance being carte blanche throughout the entire city. We spend a lot on our homes, just keeping them up. They're older homes, and it's always something. And we don't want to see this happen where that the neighborhoods and things like that become multifamily living and lots of cars and things like that parked around there. And that was my concern with seeing that this ordinance would go across the board. I think it's opening Pandora's box, so I would be against changing that ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Roberts. Anyone else want to speak on this subject?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a first and a second motion to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Make a motion to deny based on staff's recommendation.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? No.
No, deny it based on staff
recommendation.
No, I wanted to deny.
While we sympathize with the property owner, I don't see how we can change the ordinance to the entire city. Martin, is there any other way to go around this? Sorry?
Now, we did go over other potential solutions, one being the A-loop they're proposing as an alternative. Also, we got to keep in mind that along Ebony Drive, they only need to follow a 10-foot setback of front yard. Beyond that, they can place their parking However, that seemed to go against their design, therefore, they did not agree to that. And as well, along the alley, there's additional area where they could potentially place a parking.
Okay, so we have a first and a second to deny the ordinance changes per staff recommendation. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? One nay. Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a first and second motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Nay. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.